Welcome to To Be Continued. We're your host. I'm Christian.
And I'm Caleb.
And today, for the first time in To Be Continued history, we have a guest. This is
Ezra. You know it.
And today's episode, we're going to be shooting our Week 16 takeaways. And I'm going to give our guest the floor.
I'm going first?
Yeah.
Alright, well, I'm a big Philadelphia fan.
Sadly.
Alright, I'm not a faker. Always an Eagles fan, don't switch teams. But even though they're the 7th seed right now, I don't think Philly is a playoff caliber team. They struggle against terrible teams, and then they play alright against good teams, but you gotta have some more consistency there.
They also don't play a full, complete game ever.
No, they don't.
Seems like when, no matter who they're playing, if it's a good team or a terrible team, they'll have stretches where they're just the worst team on the field.
And then they look amazing.
Yeah, and then they just look really good, and it's really confusing.
But with that game yesterday, I mean, we can all make the case that the Giants had an adequate quarterback. They win that game. Jake Fromm and Mike Glennon might be the two worst quarterbacks in the NFL, and Taysom Hill still plays in this league.
Well, that was another situation of no game plan, no offensive line, and it just looked, I don't know, we've had some really sloppy offensive football in the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
COVID is not helping.
Mostly
that.
the Saints. Yeah, COVID's been rough.
Yeah, I just don't see them making a playoff run. I think, at least if they do make it, I'll be happy. But
They could be a team, I think, that could upset somebody once.
Well,
They could come out and smack you in the mouth. I could see it. They could, like, say they play Arizona week 1 in the playoffs.
Arizona's
I could
now.
see Philadelphia win that.
Well, right now they would be playing Dallas round 1. I don't think they have a chance
we're
at
not
Dallas.
beating a healthy Dallas.
I think they could beat Dallas.
I don't think so.
That takes me to my next.
No. Actually, I'm sorry. Your next point's not yet. Actually, it's
Yeah, we're going to
Caleb's
alternate. So,
Well, I'm new to
yeah,
this.
we don't want just one person to dominate the discussion.
Sorry.
Okay,
As
we're not-
famous as you think you might be.
Yeah,
We're not-
that's Christian's job.
That's my job.
Now, my first takeaway is that I'm feeling pretty good about my Chiefs pick as the best team in the AFC. The Patriots are fading, it looks like. And I think the Patriots still have a bright future. Mac Jones, I think, is going to be really good. He's going to be solid. He's going to be exactly what they need. But he's a rookie, and the Patriots' offense isn't spectacular, and the defense is good, but I question if it's good enough to make up for those problems. And I'm feeling pretty good. I think the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC, and I don't think it's particularly close.
And you are 100% correct. I'm going to say this. I was 100% wrong about the Chiefs.
Duh.
They're not making it out of the first round, right?
Yeah, they're going to make it to the Super Bowl. I don't see anybody beating them. Pat Mahomes finally looks great. But you know who's actually the dominant force on their team? That defense. I mean, they had that slopey start, like horrible, sloppy start to the season. But since week 7, they're only giving up like 12 points per game. I mean, this is incredible.
Yeah, defense has improved a lot.
But speaking of Mac Jones, this leads me to my take. And it's the Niners' Mac Jones. The Niners need to hope that Trey Lance is the answer because Jimmy Garoppolo can't win a game to save his life. If they had a quarterback that just wouldn't give the ball to the defense, they would have won the game.
I don't want to... You can't let Kyle Shanahan escape all blame. So part of it's Jimmy G, yes. But Kyle Shanahan is a common denominator here. Jimmy G has shown that he can win big games sometimes. He's just been inconsistent.
I mean,
part of that is game plan too. Part of it is they've got a lot of similar players on that team. Like they got a really good offensive line, but their receivers are more like physical specimens than they are like great receivers. Like what makes Cooper Kupp great is not just his athleticism, it's that he's just a technician in his craft.
Oh, and
the 49ers don't have that. They've got like Deebo Samuel, who's just like a dominant force. But he's also not a real number one receiver, in my opinion. Just like route running and things of that nature.
Deebo Samuel, to me, I mean, he's a good receiver. But my problem with him is what makes him so good is he's also their best running back. I mean, if you take out his running stats this year, he's not a great receiver. I mean, if he's a great receiver, that one pick Jimmy Garoppolo threw, he would have caught that ball.
Yeah.
I mean, those great receivers make that catch.
Yeah. That was a very catchable ball. He just didn't go up for it. And if he's going to be number one guy,
you got to make that catch.
Yeah.
You got to make that catch. So that leads us to Ezra's second takeaway, which is...
My second takeaway from this week is Dallas is not playing around. They're trying to do something, but the NFC's got some stacked teams this year. I mean, Green Bay, Rams, and Dallas, and the Bucks. So I see them putting up a fight, but I don't think they'll make it too far in the playoffs. I think they go like round 2.
All right, so I was going to let Caleb get the next takeaway, but because you're speaking of Dallas, I got to get to my takeaway here. We totally disagree on this. I do not trust Dallas whatsoever. They beat up on a bad football team. I mean,
You got 2 defensive
They've done that a
player of
lot.
the year candidates.
who? The Dallas Cowboys?
Diggs and Parsons.
Diggs is not a defensive player of the year candidate. Yes, he has 11 picks, but that's the reason he's getting all these picks is because he's also allowing the second most yards in the league this year.
Who's the guy last year from Miami that had all those picks? What's his name?
Not Howard. It was wait, was it Howard?
I think it was Howard.
It was
He
Xavier.
had all
Howard.
kinds of picks. A lot like Diggs, and he wasn't really close to winning Defensive Player of the Year. And I think it really should be the same thing. The only reason Diggs is getting the love he's getting is because he's on the Dallas Cowboys.
Absolutely.
That's true.
And also with
Well,
Diggs,
Micah Parsons is also.
Micah Parsons is a beast. I'll give you that.
I
But
wouldn't want to face him.
He's a beast. He's not.
he's not Aaron Donald.
He's not Aaron Donald.
He's not Myles Garrett.
No, I would still say. Honestly, I would still say my pick for Defensive Player of the Year would be Aaron Donald. And
What?
I say that because if you've watched the last few weeks of the Rams games, the Rams defense has turned around. You know why? It's because Aaron Donald has lived in the backfield and he has just disrupted everything. Even the Rams run defense is bad. It's been bad for years. And Aaron Donald's even stopping that.
Caleb.
He's taking people in the backfield.
Yes, the last 3 weeks Aaron Donald has been great, but
Aaron Donald is Defensive Player of the Year. He's the best player in
the
football.
season didn't start 3 weeks ago. It
Doesn't
started
matter.
17.
He was just
weeks
putting
ago.
up boring stats before then. But Aaron Donald is so great that when he does something that normal people would be special for, it's just like, oh, Aaron
TJ
Donald's
Watt is
Aaron
the
Donald.
defensive player of the year.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
He's racking up stacks on a bad team.
On a bad team.
On a bad
they're
team.
they're 500.
They stink.
Their
They got no
quarterback
chance.
stinks.
They got no chance. They got beat down by my Chiefs.
But back to my Dallas takeaway. I mean, I don't trust him. I don't trust Dak. I don't trust Mike McCarthy. I mean, yeah, Dak Prescott, sure, he put up 4 touchdowns against the Washington football team. But am I going to credit a win versus a team that doesn't even know their own name? No. You know, up to 3 weeks ago, I did have some faith in the football team. Then they made the Cowboys look great the first time, and the Cowboys almost lost that game. And then they made Jalen Hurts look like he was the next coming of Randall Cunningham.
That team is terrible.
They are.
They're just melting down.
Yeah.
They're
right
terrible.
before our eyes. Like I texted you during the game, and I don't know how Ron Ferris not fired during the game, like after the game. Like,
But-
you've got first round talent, you got top of the first round talent, you got important players that are fighting on the sideline. Like they're showing more fight on the sideline than they were on the field.
Yeah.
That team, and you came into the season with your plan at quarterback as Ryan Fitzpatrick.
That was a dumb decision. I
And,
mean,
and Taylor Heineke, and neither one of those are good options.
the guy I always think they should go after, I mean, they needed a quarterback. They should have tried to get Mac Jones because they need a guy that's going to protect the football and just not make mistakes. Mac Jones would have been a perfect fit for the football team.
They should have never let Kirk Cousins go.
I think they're bringing him back. I've heard rumors that he's going there. If the Vikings let him go, and I could see that happening. But
Yeah.
I
can
don't
you
think he'd
believe?
want to.
So every other team in the NFL already has only given up 50 points like once in the past decade, or not even once to their own divisional rival. In the last 10 years, the Washington football team has not only done it once but twice. They gave up 56 points to the Eagles back about 10 years ago, and then they did it again to Dallas on Sunday night.
That was when Donovan McNabb was going to show Philadelphia what they lost.
Yeah, didn't work out.
Yeah,
too well.
3
Yeah.
picks.
Yeah.
He also had the best quarter of his life in that game too. But let's not forget about that.
Yeah. So that kind of leads me into my next one is the NFC. I don't think any of those teams are legit except for maybe the Packers. The Packers are a complete team that don't have really any obvious holes outside of just kind of the struggling Mason Crosby, but I still believe that in the big spot, I'm not worried about Mason Crosby. And they've got the best quarterback in the league, and it's not particularly close. Mahomes has a case, but nobody else is even really close to him. But every other NFC team is just like they're flawed, and they're flawed in a way that they're gonna run into somebody that's gonna attack them. Dallas they've beat up on really bad teams, and when they faced a good, tough, physical football team, they've got smacked around, like the Broncos. Just embarrassed them, humiliated them. Really, I mean that game wasn't even nearly as close as the final score was. And
beat the Broncos.
the Rams, I don't trust their defense. Sometimes I don't trust Matt Stafford. I don't know what he's doing out there. He's got. I mean, honestly, I think he's a top 5 quarterback. I do, but then he just makes bottom like bottom 5 decisions sometimes. It's just like sometimes just take the sack, man. Take the sack, we'll punt, and because he's handing points to the other team.
Oh, yeah.
The Rams would be they might only have 1 or 2 losses if he wasn't handing touchdowns to the other team's defense. And I just I love my Rams. I love Matt Stafford, but they're flawed. The Bucs, I don't trust that defense. Their defense has looked really good against really bad teams, but their secondary's not great, and now their linebackers are dinged up. Their receiving room is dinged up. And they don't have Leonard Fournette, who was big time in the clutch for them.
The Saints shut them down.
Yeah, the Saints.
So
the Saints defense is legit.
Oh yeah,
Can't argue about that.
So speaking about the Packers, though, I was with you until I looked at a stat that's troubling. Their point differential is something that is actually kind of sad. For a 12-3 team, their point differential is only plus 78. But if you take out their 2 games versus the Lions, and there was another blowout and I'm missing, and I think it was the Jets. If you take out those 3 games, their point differential is only 13. They're letting bad teams stick in games. I mean, Baker Mayfield threw 4 picks and they still only won by 2 points. Tyler Huntley almost beat them. I mean, the one troubling thing is they're relying on Aaron Rodgers a lot. And in the playoffs, it's hit or miss. And we all know how Aaron Rodgers is in the playoffs. He usually doesn't play his best ball.
But when you got the best quarterback in football, you can live and die by
Green
him.
Bay this year.
I mean, I hope so, but I'm just saying that the stats, they are a little concerning. I mean, these games are a little closer than they should be.
Green Bay's defense has kind of sneakily improved.
Well, they did until
pretty good.
Alexander went down. Did you see what Nick Chubb just did to him? I mean, I don't know why the Browns didn't run the ball more. I mean, they were getting 9 yards a run.
Yeah, that was a really confusing game plan.
Kevin Stefanski, hey, that's another guy under the
Yeah, that dude should be.
Mike Shanahan tree.
We could do a whole episode on guys that should be fired. There's a bunch.
There's a
Packers
lot.
special teams is also not that good.
Oh, they yeah. You gotta trust them.
It's obvious.
That's another flaw in the Rams. Their special teams is one of the worst in the league. They
Except Matt Gay.
just do dumb stuff
Except Matt Gay.
every week. Except Matt Gay. Matt Gay is a stud. Pro Bowler. Pro Bowl kicker.
Whatever happened to Johnny
He needs
Hecker?
Legatron. Hecker, I don't know what Hector's deal is. It's not the same anymore. They should let him go.
So, Ezra, what's this last takeaway looking like?
All right, so this Christmas night game, Cardinals Colts. Cardinals are obviously pretenders. They aren't. They fell off so hard. They were the best team in football a month ago, and now they're just terrible, hard to watch. And my second part of this is that the Colts won't make an impressive playoff run. Their offense relies around having a good offensive line and having Jonathan Taylor. Other than that, they aren't doing too much. And their coaching was really looking stupid in this game because their offensive line was decimated and they're still trying to run between the tackles when they could have been getting outside and letting Jonathan Taylor use his speed and craftiness.
I just want to say one thing for clarity. Who was your Super Bowl pick? Before
The
season?
Cardinals.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Wait, can we hear that again?
You're officially
The Cardinals.
You're
I'm
officially
off
off
that
the
train.
bandwagon.
Yeah.
Off the
that wasn't
okay.
bandwagon. I said it
Okay, yeah,
way
you
before the
did.
season even started.
You did. I will vouch for that, but yeah.
And when Ertz went there, I was like, okay.
Yeah, it looked like everything was going to go good, and then, Cliff Kingsbury is going to Cliff Kingsbury.
It'd be funny if
Yeah.
now that the
And
Cardinals.
Kyler
start
Murray is showing his.
Yeah.
If the Cardinals start dominating and go on a
Inexperience.
run, I'm gonna be like, see, Ezra was the bad juju.
So you're really going to disappoint Christian with that second half. Though.
Actually, that second
They're
half.
not gonna.
So, okay,
Wentz
go ahead.
never won a playoff
I'll
game.
let-
I think the Colts. Depends a lot on Leonard if he's going to be healthy enough for the playoff run when they get in there. Provided they do get in. I mean, they're pretty much going to get in. I don't think they're going to win the division. I think the Titans are going to stick it out.
Yeah.
I think the Titans and the Colts are pretty close to the same team. It's just the Colts have a better running back, and they might have a more talented quarterback, but I don't know that I trust him anymore. Carson Wentz has got all the skill you could want, but he just does.
He does Wentz stuff.
Yeah, he just does strange things.
He tries to do too much when he could just throw the ball
He
away.
used to. Hey, actually, believe it or not, do you know who has the best touchdown to interception ratio in a season in
That's
Colts
such a
history?
mistelling stat. He's had so many
Got
interceptions
these
dropped.
ESPN stats out here
yeah.
nowadays.
But anyway,
Yeah, that's fake news.
Caleb, what's this last takeaway looking like?
My last takeaway, and I know I said nobody in the NFC is legit. I think the Rams have a real chance, and I'm not saying that as a Rams fanboy, but I am. I'm a Rams fanboy, but they've got a real shot. If Matthew Stafford just doesn't do anything stupid, Rams could come out of the NFC easy. They've got their defense is starting to starting to settle in. Raheem Morris is starting to figure out what he's got to work with. He's letting Jalen Ramsey play on some star players. He did it with DK. He did it with Jefferson in the first half. And the defense is starting to really pick it up. The special teams are starting to do less dumb things. Had a punt return for a touchdown. This is the Rams' first punt return for a touchdown, I think, since 2010 or something. It's a crazy stat. And so that looked pretty good. They might have finally found somebody there. And I think it just, the run game, as long as McVay is willing to lean on his run game, because they got a good offensive line. And if they will lean on that run game and let Stafford just not force things, I think the Rams could come out this year.
Oh, in the NFC, it's wide open. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if the Niners made it to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's that wide open.
I wouldn't be shocked if any of those like 10, 11 win teams get knocked out in the first round.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just that kind of season.
They've all had up and downs. They've had bad losses. They've had impressive wins, but also unimpressive wins. So you've got so much parity in the NFC. You got like 11-4 teams, and then you got like Carolina and the Falcons. And the Falcons' record isn't that bad, but they're not very good. I've got Matt Ryan on my fantasy team, and it's just depressing.
Well, he lost Calvin Ridley.
Free Matt Ryan, man. Get that guy somewhere else. Anywhere else.
Anywhere.
Retirement.
But yeah, I think the Rams have a shot.
Oh, I think they do,
How do you feel about Henderson?
Henderson being out. Well, Akers actually has a chance to play this week somehow.
Did anybody else watch Sony Michel?
But I don't know.
Michel's looking good. Yeah, I wouldn't
feed
push
him
him
too much because Achilles.
I would feed. I'd feed Michel and maybe use Akers as your change of pace.
Oh yeah,
And,
Michel's a good power back, shockingly.
Just let Akers kind of get stronger in the game, and I like it. I like my chances.
You think they'll figure out Cup in the playoffs? Or?
I don't think so.
No.
Because
that doesn't look like it.
You can't really figure out. The reason you can't figure out Cup is because you do have Odell Beckham. Mm-hmm. You've got Van Jefferson who can make plays, and you've got Tyler Higbee who they love to do weird things with. They love the tight end screens with Higbee. I don't know why, but but they got a lot of talent in that offense.
Speaking of this, though, I mean, anybody, Skip Bayless, who thinks Odell Beckham isn't a good receiver anymore needs to watch film, wake up, get out of a coma. It's called he played with Baker Mayfield for 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, Skip's a clown. He's just looking to hate on Odell for no real reason. Doesn't make sense.
But this leads me to my last takeaway. And can I say this any other than nobody lost that Eagles-Colts trade? I mean, the Colts got what they needed. They needed a quarterback that's not going to screw the game horribly for you. And as much as we can say, oh, well, Wentz looked horrible last year. If you take last year out of the equation and you take his rookie year out of the equation, Wentz is giving you... He gets a 64% completion percentage. These are all the 4 seasons. With about 14,000 yards, 106 touchdowns, only 27 interceptions. That's over 4 years. That's elite. There's only one other quarterback in history to have a 4-year span just like this. Aaron Bleepin Rodgers. And that's a bad man.
You cherry picking stuff.
But anyway, but let me say this. Let me get to this point, though.
It's like Nick Foles. That was one of the best quarterback seasons ever.
Ready? So Ezra said Wentz doesn't have any playoff experience, right? This is the perfect year to have a quarterback that has no playoff experience. Ready?
In the AFC?
In any conference. Let's go through the top teams. Ready? Chiefs. Pat Mahomes. Oh, I'll give you that. He's great in playoffs.
Stud.
Yeah.
How do we feel about Ryan?
Chiefs team's good in the playoffs.
Oh yeah. How do we feel about Ryan Tannehill in the playoffs? I don't trust him.
It depends. What? Are we assuming Derrick Henry's not coming back?
Oh, he's coming back.
If Derrick Henry's back, I feel good about Ryan Tannehill because it ain't hard to just turn and hand the ball off.
Play action.
That's their
sets everything.
But he's always been shoddy at best in the playoffs.
What's his name? AJ Brown just had a monster game coming back.
Brown's back. They made a mistake letting Davis go and picking up Julio.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Davis made a mistake leaving because he's not looking too good on the Jets either. Like some people are just made for each other and things just work out.
But then let's go to the Ravens. I mean, how do we feel about Lamar Jackson in the playoffs? I don't feel comfortable with Lamar.
Ravens are nothing without Lamar.
Joe Burrow
Burrow
has no experience.
Yeah, but they got offense over there.
Josh Allen, we all know Josh Allen's not good in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I trust him more than
struggling times.
And then we have who's the next team I was going to go with? I mean, you got any of those AFC teams after Mahomes? I don't trust. Justin Herbert's never been in the playoffs.
He might not get in.
He might not even
He'll
get in.
deserve to get in.
Yeah,
They got beat down by the Texans.
Patriots, Mac Jones. I mean, I love what Mac Jones has done all season, but the last 2 weeks, 4 picks.
I trust Belichick though.
I trust Belichick, but if you shut down if you stop their run game, you're going to win.
I'm still not off of I don't know how it's going to shake out with the bracket, but I wouldn't be. I think it could very well be a Patriots and Chiefs AFC championship.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
But let me say this though: the Colts, are they the most deadliest team? No. Are they the most dangerous team? Nobody wants to play the Colts. You don't want to mess with that monster in JT. That defense. Who's been able to dominate that defense?
They're basically the same team as the Titans.
Yeah.
The
Titans are the same team.
You don't want to see them.
You don't.
And I trust Wentz this year way more than I do Tannehill. Tannehill has 16 picks.
Wentz could easily have 16 picks if defenders would catch the ball.
If-
I've watched Wentz the last 2 weeks. He's had like 4 or 5 picks dropped.
Not against the Cardinals.
There was one
It was a PI.
that was a bogus PI.
It's still a PI.
The guy was making a play on the ball. Even the
Yeah.
the rules analyst said it was a bogus PI,
Hey, I'll take it.
and it should have been a pick.
Hey, did you not see that throw he had to Patman? Was that not an elite throw?
Patman?
In back of the end zone? End the game? You saw that throw. Come on, we all saw it.
It was a good throw.
A good throw. Matthew Stafford couldn't make that throw.
Yes, he could.
No, he
Oh,
couldn't.
he was rolling
Easy.
out to the
Yeah.
left.
Matthew.
There's no throw on the football
That's
field
it.
that Matthew Stafford cannot make.
Yes, there is.
He's got more arm
on the
talent than
run.
anyone else.
He's not a good on the run thrower. His passer rating on the run's horrible.
He could do that easily. I have no doubt.
Not a hard throw to complete.
You just have this weird thought that Carson Wentz is in the same league as Matt Stafford, and he's just not.
Nah.
Hey,
He's not.
you know
He's
what?
not- he's the next level below.
Here's a good saying. You can take Stafford out of Detroit. You can't take the Detroit out of Stafford.
We'll see. We'll see in the playoffs.
Well, anyway, thank you for watching this episode of To Be Continued, and I hope you enjoyed our guest. Until next time.
To be continued.
I'll be back.
I'll be back.